Hey there. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a professional. This should not be construed or misconstrued as any legal, therapy, financial, any other expert advice. If you need to see an expert, go see an expert. Use your discernment. Okay, I always have to say that, sorry. It gets annoying, I know. A quick disclaimer. I just wanted to discuss my social media accounts because it's been brought to my attention that people may be using social media for me. The only accounts that I have is this one from a video perspective, my LinkedIn. I'm not even on Facebook. I am on Facebook, but I haven't used it in eons. So you won't find me there. And then I have my own personal Gmail account, one of them that I use. And then, what's my other one? Oh, my Global Divine Alchemy at Gmail. So that's it. And Insta, I'm on it as Leverage Potential, and I'm on X as Your Career Tweet. But again, those aren't very active. I'm just using LinkedIn. So if you're getting anything from anybody else claiming to be me, it's not me. So, and as always, I know it's been a while since I said this, but I'm telling this story from my perspective then, and it's only my story through my lens. So I wanted to give you my perspectives. Since it may be very different now, I wanted to go through my healing journey to make sure I'm taking you through it as it unfolded with all those emotions that were happening at the time. So I just wanted to give you that reminder that you're getting the narrative and thoughts as I was going through the journey. So again, it's only my perspective, and I'm doing it from copious notes that I took throughout the journey. The universe told me to do it. I didn't know why I was doing it, but now I do. So there you go. Because there's no way I'd remember all of this from all the different shenanigans. So on to Amsterdam. It was so nice to be in Amsterdam. I had lucked out and I had booked a cheap hotel room, and it ended up being right in Dam Square, and a super cute hotel. It's the Row Hotel. You can go back and look at the videos that I recorded about, I think it was Mongolia, in February of 2023. God, it's been a long time ago. If you want to see the lobby and the rooms. It's super cute. What a great hotel with fantastic staff. It's really a beautiful place. So again, if you want to see what it looks like, it's Art Deco, I think. And it was in a fantastic location, and the pricing was great. And that's the picture you see on the slide in front of you behind me. If you want to see, that's what the lobby looks like. So if you want to see more, go back and view those videos. So I had left my friend and was in Amsterdam now. And when I was in my hotel, Wizard texted me, and he said he'd be out of town for the night, but he sent me a bunch of food and entertainment suggestions. It really struck me when he was texting me that it had been a really long time since someone took care of me and made sure that I was all right. It was usually me doing that for other people. I wasn't coming into town to see Wizard, but he knew I was there, and he went out of his way to make sure that I was taken care of. It really touched me. Usually when I go to a country, as quickly as possible, I get out of the capital city. But honestly, with Amsterdam, I quickly fell in love with the city. Because of the time change, I usually had all day free, and then I would do coaching with my clients at night, because most of them are US based. I did have a reason for being in Amsterdam, and I think I mentioned it before, but I'll talk about that more on the other videos, as I have so much to say about Amsterdam. I'm breaking it up into a couple different videos. I think it'll be 3. But for now, I'll just say that this city surprised me with how much it resonated with me, and I'll talk about the purpose of my trip on the next video. My friends were actually making fun of me because I don't do drugs, and I wasn't someone who loved going to clubs or, engaging in the nightlife. So they were joking with me that Amsterdam was pretty wasted on me, but I adored it. Anyways, I loved meandering around the city during the days. I never really had any preconceived notions of where I was going. I just kind of walked and put my music with my earbuds on and just walked around the city and took in the sights and the vibes and kind of went off on an adventure every day. I love the vibe of that city. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. The sights, the sounds, the people, the architecture, the art, the canals, all of it, all beautiful. It was only missing monkeys. If it had monkeys, I'd probably live there. And speaking of art, I just wanted to give a shout out to a lovely company and brand that I found when I was there called Collect the Label. And you'll see that picture of their store on the other piece of my slide. They make different clothing from original art and do a limited line with each. So if you see me wear my funky sweatshirt with Jesus on it, that's where it came from. So take a look at it. I think they just opened up a new store in California recently too, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they're fantastic. When I was looking for a second location of that shop, I love little mom and pop, cool, unique shops. I love to support them. I love what they mean. And, add art to the mix and you can't beat it. I was looking for their second location of that shop, and I stumbled upon something called the Embassy of the Free Mind when I was looking at the map. I didn't know what the hell it was, but I was very compelled to check it out. The universe was looking out for me, I found out later, but I'm so glad I checked it out. Talk about learning. It has a coffee shop and a bookstore and a museum on the bottom, but the real gem of it is upstairs. There's a reading room where you can literally borrow books and manuscripts. You can't check them out. You have to sit there and get someone to go in the dusty old basement. I'm assuming it's a dusty old basement to grab them for you. But they're there from like before the 1900s, I think, even. It was my covert nerdy dream place. It became a daily occurrence for me to spend a few hours there reading stuff. Cross philosophy, religion, physics, you name it, it was there. I used to laugh at myself because here I am in Amsterdam and really loving all that the city had to offer. And I spent so much time cooped up in an office, their upstairs office, reading old texts and loving every minute of it. I read fairly quickly, and so, I'd sit there and pile up my little books and manuscripts and read through them all. It was lovely. It was the best way to spend time there. I also got into a lovely rhythm with Wizard too a couple days into my stay. He just kind of started fitting into my days there. I don't really know how it happened. We would just text and then end up connecting. He was great about being flexible with last minute plans. He just kind of went with it. It was super fun. Speaking of the Embassy of the Free Mind, it was literally like, I think, 5 blocks ish. I'm terrible with directions from his boat on the canal, and he didn't even know anything about it. So I introduced him to the place, and he seemed just as fascinated as me. We would often meet there and spend hours having great, messy conversations about real shit. Wizard was a conundrum for me. He had big fat energy that was literally like a live wire, but I always felt like I couldn't quite read it. For those of you who aren't spiritual, it's kind of like trying to grab an object with your hand and then it keeps slipping out of your hand. I said to Wizard so many times during our talks at the embassy that I couldn't put my finger on how we were meant to connect in each other's lives. He was super impressive and humble at the same time. I remember him telling me one time that he decided to learn tax laws when he was 12. He taught himself. So he wouldn't have to pay taxes on his trades, or so many taxes on his trades. And honestly, him telling me that story didn't surprise me at all. He was so anal logically and brilliantly in so many ways. But on the flip side, and I'm not sure he knew it enough, he was a creative genius. He designed his boat, and it was both stunningly beautiful and logically designed. Well, 95% of it was. I won't go into the remaining 5% because I already gave him a hard enough time teasing him about that. Our conversations were always varied and intriguing. We talked about everything from philosophy and business to sex and relationships, whatever it was. It was never dull. I teased him about quickly redeeming himself from our initial first conversation at Arthur Finley when I got bored and felt like I was talking to a client. I teased him about that all the time. He was entertaining as hell, quick witted. He had grit and was always helping other people out. It was one of the things that I admire and respect the most about him. If he gave his word, he would be there, period. And usually, he was giving to them and wasn't getting anything back. I quickly learned by being with him that he was literally like hanging out with Santa Claus, although I don't think I shared that with him. If I said I was looking for a book on a certain subject, and some obscure subject, usually, the next day he would have found one in some obscure little shop or place, and he would scan it and text it to me, so I had it. Same goes for what I said. There were all sorts of like rent a scooter by the hour over there in Amsterdam, and I mentioned how fun that would be. So Wizard insisted that we do it, even though I told him not to worry about it. He just listened, waved his magical wand, and made shit happen for me. It was literally like putting in a wish list. I realized pretty quickly that I need to be careful about what I said because he'd make it happen. In fact, him whizzing me off to lunch after riding me around town on that scooter, fun as hell by the way, I'm so glad that he insisted on doing it. It made me realize that I needed to get better at receiving. I'd always been the nurturer and the giver, and really struggled with letting him do stuff for me. Whether it was insisting on the scooter or buying me lunch, it just wasn't natural for me. And over lunch, that insight really hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized that for so long, I needed to learn that lesson. And by spending time with him, by just being with him, it helped me let go of all that toxicity from Hottie. Somehow, over lunch and scooter rides or visits to cheese shops or whatever we were doing, it transferred into forgiveness for me. And it made me realize, as I mentioned in my gratitude video, if you saw it, that my heart was the best part of me and that I wasn't going to leave it by the wayside, neglected and underutilized. In just Wizard's daily actions, taking care of me in his own way and just being there, it literally kickstarted my heart again and gave me back my faith in humanity. There were others out here. I knew then that there were others out there that loved just like I did. I just need to open myself back up to the experiences. I left lunch with the intention to just get rid of any toxicity that I had left and just get back to my compassionate, unconditional, loving self and stop being so jaded. I'll continue with my Amsterdam in the next video. But until next time, have a great Friday. Take care.